fish room. Now, I know you're looking at this image and you're saying to yourself, this isn't exactly easy. But the truth is, it is rather simple when you stop and look at some of the things I have here. We have some bottles, we have some jars, we have quite a fish nursery going on. Well, welcome to FishEZ on a Friday night. This week, it's just casual night. We're going to answer questions. We're going to talk about a few things. I'm even going to step through the process of what I do on a regular basis. That is, when I get fish in. May as well just get started. Thank you for joining us. I see there's a couple people already going. So I'm just going to get kind of busy. Now, my camera is not acting well, and so I'm afraid I'm going to toss it or drop it or something. It just doesn't seem like it works. I'm going to work on something like that. So let me first take you to see what's down below. We went to the grow out center today, and we did some water changes. And what we picked up, hi Jeff, welcome. We picked up this bucket of goodies. So let's take a look at the bucket of goodies, and we're going to take a look to see what we got, what we brought home, and what's required. So I'm not sure if it's going to come out well. I can't hold the camera and also do that, so I'm going to try to set it down. The camera on a breeder box. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll find out. And I can't see myself this way. Maybe I should turn the camera around. Yeah, maybe that's what I should do. Let's try turning it around. Hello, Sandy, Fish Donkey, Red Laser. Oh, all the crew's coming on board. Let's see. This clip I'm using isn't working, obviously, but it's just keeping my phone rather safe. Okay, let's try what would happen if... And Stubbs is in the night. Oh wow, even Stubbs. Now, I'm turning around. I'm going to try to see if this is even better. I don't know, this camera is not so great. Okay. It's a hot 81 degrees in here tonight, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the things in the bucket. First item. I picked up one of these. This is a mop. So we're collecting mops on a regular basis, and we have a group of luminatus, Pseudomugil luminatus, and these guys are really going to town. So what I'm going to do is show you what the process is, and I'm just going to take the camera and show you, hopefully not drop anything. Okay. So what we have is a series of small 2.5 gallons. You'll notice they're numbered 1 through 4. So what I have in tank number 1 is baby luminatus. Now that's what you're looking at, and those baby luminatus are up near the top. And if you look real close, you'll see there's a little variety in size. And the reason why there's a size difference. So I take an empty tank and I start putting mops in them. This tank here, I have not seen any fry yet. I didn't really look today too well. I don't see any. I'm looking up, right? And there's a light above. So what's that right there? I see something. It's just stuff floating around. I don't see any fry in this one. Okay, so the way it works is I started putting the mops, and there's actually 3 or 4 mops in here. I think there's 3 dates. So the first mop went in May 19th, and today's June 9th. And then the next one went in May 23rd, and then the next one the 27th. So once, it takes a few weeks. So you collect the mops and you put them in there, and I just toss them in there, and you can see also there's some snails that are running around, which I don't have in my fish room, but these came from the grow out. over where the breeders are. So obviously the hitchhiker snails got in there, but they don't seem to have eaten all the eggs. Maybe some of them, I don't know what the difference is. I'm going to talk about maybe trying to get rid of or reducing the number of snails in the breeder. So as you can see, they start appearing at the surface of the water. They're just like little floaters. So immediately when I see the first one, I stop putting mops in number one. So I've already got several weeks of mops. Now, what will happen is in the next mops we'll put in this one. So as soon as this tank gets finished or filled, so I'll just keep adding mops until right now I think there's two, right? Two dates, June 4th, June 6th, and tonight is going to be June 9th. So there's a number of mops, actually more than just 3, because these were put in a couple of days apart. The mops were collected but not put in yet. So the idea being that the largest fry in here will get too big and start eating maybe the smaller fry. I don't know. Maybe they don't eat their siblings much, but it gives me a chance to grow them out and keep them to a relative same size. So what I'm going to do is, whoops, everybody there? Oh, did I hit? Oh, I hit the button. Okay, that was a boo-boo. Very sensitive to these touch phones. So what's going to happen is we're going to fill this up. There'll be a lot of fry, a good batch, and then this will start to fill up. And when the first fry starts to appear, there'll be about 3 weeks of mops in the bottom. So then I'll stop putting mops in there and just let them hatch out for the next 3 weeks. And then this one will start collecting mops. So that's the assembly line process that we got going. We're going to see if it works. And tonight, let's see if I can make this happen. Let's see. Change the camera. Oh, wait a minute. That's no good. There we go. Huh. It's a new phone, so some of the buttons don't work exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put the mop in there. I get my little steps ladder. I have to bring that around. Okay, so we have the mops, and I'm just going to put them in. Now, it's interesting. I was watching a video this week. It was a very good one on rainbow fish, and it was an older gentleman who had been having fish 80 some years. Maybe you saw it. It was put out by Keeping Fish Simple. Very, very good video. I highly recommend it. And then at the same time, he mentions about his rainbow fish and the eggs being kind of hard, kind of durable, and you just kind of get the water out by kind of wringing them up. Not tightly, but just kind of getting most of it out, and you can pick and see the eggs. Well, I've never done that. I've never, thought I'd just squeeze out the water because, there's eggs in there, right? But if they're hard as Cory eggs and like, then it turns out. So I'm going to just put another mop in this particular tank number 2. No sense in getting too wild about it. I use a heater that is a 78 standard heater. You don't need to use a variable set. This is just the preset kind, and the purpose of it is basically, here's one, I'll show you. Here it is here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, Aqueon. It's just to make sure if for any reason that it never gets that low up here, but in case it ever should drop down below 78, I just make sure the eggs are not looking to see. I don't see any eggs or anything else in here, so we're good to go. Important thing, of course, is, yeah, I agree with that. His productions are like, I don't know, They're like Hollywood productions. How he does it, well, gets help, I guess. So then the next thing is important is to write the date of the mop, the last mop, because I want to capture the last mop that went in, right? So June 9th. But I forgot to put here on the right-hand side, right here, is the date of when the very first fry appear. So I'll know exactly when that is. But you can estimate it. 531 was the first mop in this tank. When I see the first fry, I'll know how many days, how much these Illuminatus are doing for me. It should be pretty standard. Okay, so that's the first goodie in the goodie bag. Let's see what else we have. Okay, goodie bag. What do we have here? Okay. So this one looks like a batch of angel eggs. These were put into a tubby. I call these tubbies. Hey Steve, welcome, and Craig's Catfish. Oh, always the great crew here. Now also in this same container, the fish laid, there's some that laid on a small riser tube or lift tube. So I collected that as well, but I don't know if any of those are going to hatch. They look very white to me, like the male didn't fertilize. Now these, the water is in the tubby. I'm going to keep it that way. So what I need to do is to put it on the tubby rack. So I have I have here is these tubbies here are all actually used very easily. All I do is I take, like for example, here's an empty one, ready to go. It's got the air stone and everything. Here, this one's loose. I can do it with one hand. And I just take that off, and then I just replace it with a new one. I have to turn it because of this ridiculous thing sticking there. Now I have a tubby in the lineup, and this is raring to go. So then I would just put some air. Now these eggs, I checked to make sure when they're hatching. These are from, it's marked here what pair it is and the date, but these, I see some wiggling tails. They're already hatching. So at this case, there's not a lot of fungus on them, because when the eggs are taken out and put in RO water, just to keep the eggshells not getting hard. So this is RO water right now. And then what happens is we put into the tubby about 7 drops of hydrogen peroxide, 3%. So we get, in a gallon jar, it might be 12 drops. And in the tubby, it's 6 or 7 drops. So I don't need to add more drops here because they're at the point where they're hatching. So what's the point of hatching, putting hydrogen peroxide, unless there is a problem with fungus? And in that case, I have lost batches because the fungus actually took over and even devoured the wigglers, because the wigglers can't really swim away from the fungus. So they get stuck in it, and then they can't get out, and then eventually it overtakes them. So, hi Skettinona, and welcome everyone. Everybody's online. Okay, no questions yet though I see. Wow, RO, is that for the whole system? The RO, that costs that much? Because I get it on, and I just order the RO Buddy system. I just order it for, it's 50 gallons a day, and I get it for, it's $100, $120 max. So now I'm just going to take this, and I've already got my aeration going, ready in this particular location. So I'm going to stick that in there, so I can kind of move the water. Now normally if I didn't have this slate, I could put the lid on completely, and then I just right up here is my controls for adjusting each one of these, and they're lined up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can just look up here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how I know. It's always good to be very orderly and to do things, for example, with the idea that it's systematic. If you're more systematic in the way you do things, then it's better for the fish. No, it's better for you, because then you keep track, and then of course as a consequence it's better for the fish. Yes, even though this fish room looks like it's not very orderly, it actually is very orderly, and people don't even realize. Well, here's a little tip, for example. On the airlines, sometimes what I've done is taken a black pen and drew a circle around the first one, 2 circles around the second one, 3 circles around the third, etc. Then at the other end, where you have the lines coming out and you've got different air stones, do the same thing. For the first one, it's 1 circle. Excuse me. I went and got some apple juice just for this. I also have my tea going. This is terrible. Well, maybe that'll help. Yeah, whatever it was, that helps. So I'm sure you guys are all sitting with your drink of preference, watching FishEZ on a Friday night. Well, the little marks help you to decide, okay, when you pull up the air stone, which one is this? You know right away, oh, it's number 2, and you just go over to the number 2 valve. So that helps, and they really work well on that. Okay, so we took care of the mops, we took care of the angel fish eggs that are hatching. Next thing I want to do is number 3. We got charge one. And pull out another tubby. This one, these ones actually hatched because these are black rams. These just hatched today, and so I took them off the plate. I just shook them off the plate. They were loose, and most of the eggs were white, didn't hatch. This is from a new pair, 2R, looks like 2RB3. Could be A3, I'm not sure. I'll have to clarify that. It looks a little confusing. I don't know, 2AB3, 2RA3. But this is June 7th, so it's 2 days, and 2 days is definitely time for hatching. So these little guys are very small, because when the black rams are young, their first batch usually doesn't amount to anything. So I'm not expecting any good batch to come out of this, but it's just like the first one for these people, for this pair. All right, so now I will have to take that apart because I need a spot. These are all being used. I'm going to pull this one out. If I just do that, and now I have a spot. Take the lid off the other one, and watch how easy this is. Bring it in, set it up, and I'm done. Okay, voila. So here I have now black rams. It's time to set up some note taking. I do have the lid here, and I'll show you what the lids look like. The lids look like this. So I drill a hole in the center because as you're turning this thing on the top of these tubbies, you don't want the air stone to be going like this, wishing about. You just kind of like want it to stay still, and you can do that if it's close to the center. But of course, the mold is that there's a bump. I don't know, can you see the bump? There's a bump right here, so if you drill out the bump, it turns out that it'll just break apart and make a big gash in your lid, and that isn't really the concept if you're trying to just keep covers on everything, keep humidity down. So it's slightly offset, but not too far. Then of course there's a second one that's extended a ways away, if air is going in, air can come out. Also, needs to be big enough. And so what we're going to do is, this is the food feeding arrangement. So when I use feeding arrangement, I can demonstrate that in a minute. And I'm going to just feed these, bump, 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 so quick, because I'm able to do it with the hole. I don't have to open the lid. So that's the advantage of doing it like that. So this is an example. Let's see. So that takes care of surprise number 3 for today. And now for the final, number 4, we have something very interesting. Okay. We have a black slate. Now, take a look. See how they're looking right now. Looks like there's quite a number of white ones, but the black slate tells me when we got a couple of these black slates, it is in the tank for the albino dantums. So these are albino dantum angelfish. So what I want to do with this one is pay close attention. The past couple of spawns have produced only fungus eggs, and really bad fungus. Like it just, it decides no matter what it's going to do. Flower container. Yeah, these are I use to get the mixed nuts. I get them from Costco. But let's get some air going in this gallon jar. Now this is like 3/4 full, right? So I will probably use with these this look 10 drops of hydrogen peroxide 3%. But I need a place for them, so if you can see over here, I'm going to put it up on my, I already have in my big jar, I have a bunch there. Let's see, this will fit here. So this is a good spot where I can see it well. The only problem is, of course, there's a problem here. Oh, great. You're welcome, Steve. And I can talk about the green. Let me just mention the Daphnia, because today when I was over at we put out a tank outside, and growing them outside, it really does wonders when you have green water in a tank outside in the sun. Really super. But unfortunately, the tank we put them in started leaking, and so it's an old tank, you don't want to use a nice new tank for something like that. So we're going to have to do something about that, and we'll get another tank for the Daphnia outside, but that's the idea. Well, I don't do much for my Daphnia. I keep them going by changing their water, and if you want, I'll show you how easy that is, but you have to have green water to replace the water, and it's very simple. I'll get into that in just a moment, but first I just want to get these dantums taken care of. So I have 3%. Here's my 3%, and then I'm going to put in. Let's see. I want to put in. What did I say? 8 drops. Okay. 10 drops. 8 drops. And I have to do it twice a day, the morning and the evening, if I'm going to aerate the water, because the hydrogen peroxide is going to escape from the water column if I have a bunch of variation in there. So now I need how am I going to get I need an air stone, right? Let's see where I can find an air stone. Well, I can borrow this one for now. so I can get air from here. This one. It's like I'm using one for this tank and I'm using one for the lift tube. So there's 2 here, 3. Oh, found one. Here we go. There's a tube. This one is going right up there. So I'm going to just need an air stone. And sometimes when the tubes are like this and they get very hard on the end, it's nothing wrong with just keep cutting them back to the more flexible portion. I think this one had methylene blue. That's why it's so dark. I don't know if you can see how dark blue it is. But this methylene blue, I'm just going to snip off. I'll just cut it off. Use a razor blade in this case. And then that will give me a better, tighter fit. I cut it off on the last time, so I have to. I'll use my razor blade again to get the old tubing off. Alright, and let's see if this thing will produce air. I got some old air stones. Many of them are getting thrown out as soon as I find that they get clogged and they're no good. If they give me any issues, I just get rid of it and they're cheap enough, to get another one. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there, and now I need some pressure. There we go. There we go. And now I got circulation going, so this is important. I don't like to put them too close where the air bubbles hit the eggs. They shouldn't be that close, but they need to be, I like it right along the edge of the slate, and so they're on the slate. It's not going to be so bad. Now, I also need the cap, which I took off a minute ago. It's white. There it is. And this will help the humidity if you just cover everything, right? Just kind of keep it down. Keep it from getting out. Okay. So now that's the batches that we got here tonight. And so that's what happens when I get into the nursery. I start doing that. When it comes feeding time, it's very easy to just go down the row and just look at the tubbies and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I start looking at them and I see. For example, I'm going to show you a jar, and you might say, what's in there? Okay. This jar I look at, and this is a very small jar. It's only about a pint, but this is only going to be, the fish will only be here in a day or two because they hatched. These are angel fish, and they hatched off their slate, and then they wiggle for about, 5 days. They wiggle a long time. They take longer than the rams. But this is the first day that they're free swimming. They have not even eaten yet. So because I know that these are angelfish from 1LA3, I know that these guys are angels, you see. So now I'm going to feed them for the first time right now, but after 2 or 3 feedings, it's not enough water to keep it clean. So then they come out of here and they just get put into a breeder box, which can have flow. But at least you get to see. I'm just trying to keep the real estate down, so I have these hatchers. And this one, for example, is a little different. This is one tiny little Daniel. See it in there? Right there, little Daniel, swimming around by himself because he was in the egg trap all by himself. And so eventually, when he gets big enough and robust enough, I'll put him with some others. I have about 5 or 6. These are the Celesticus chopris, or glow light Daniels, and there's about 5 or 6 in here. So I don't know if you can see them through the plastic. There they are. There's some down at the bottom. Yeah, they're all at the bottom. I think they're hungry. I didn't feed anybody yet. And in the back, you can see young ones in that tank in the behind. I don't know if you can see through these black rams, but there's some furcatus, and there's some glow light danios. Let me see. Where are they? Come on out. Come on out. Oh, they're over here because they think they're going to get fed. There's one. They're kind of beautifully orange and yellow. They've got some good colors. Very good colors. I am producing them quite. They don't die on me. They seem to be pretty good. I'm producing them by just checking the trap. Here's the trap. It's from Lakes Aquatics, and let's see if we see any in here. I don't see any today. Oh, wait a minute. I'm wrong. There's one. Right up at the top. Look at the top, see? So I gotta get him out of there. He's pretty big too. I don't know. Oh, there's another one right there. So I got several in here. So how do I get these guys out of here? Well, I don't try to net them. I try to siphon them out. So let's see what I can do to siphon them out. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. We're gonna set the phone. We're gonna set the image like that. You can watch me. What I'm gonna do is just pick up. So I want to get them out of here because there's a chance that they might go in. I'm not feeding them. They're just eating whatever is getting sucked up and brought into the box. So I have caught them or pulled them out when they were just like slivers on the wall. But now these are free swimming, so these have been, I missed them the last couple of days. So I'm going to get a siphon, and I'm going to keep my finger over the bottom of the siphon. And grab a jar. So I've got my jar, and I've got a tube. And it's not a big tube. I'm not trying to, because I don't want to pull out too much water at once, because this is only a certain size. So it's a long tube, so I can put that on the floor. I'm going to open the lid. I'll start the siphon and fill it with water. I don't need to frighten. Okay, full of water now. Now I'm going to gently put it in. Start the siphon and try. Oh, got him. And this one. Oh, startled. Never seen a siphon tube before. Got him. Okay, that was easy. FishEZ, they say. That was FishEZ. Okay, so I'm looking. I don't see any more. Let me just take out some of the bottom. Just take out some of the bottom gunk. I'm going to just do that because that'll put something in. Okay, there we go. I'm done. So, did I just pick up 2 chopre? Let's find out. Here's the jar. And it's got a lot of muck it has to settle, but I got the muck in there because the detritus adds all kinds of little bugs. Because I see little bugs floating around in there. Look. So let's see where we're at here. Yeah, come back to our, let's see if I can get back to the, whew, it's hot in here. And I got the, what is it, 82 degrees now. So here we have it. Did I get them successfully? I see 1. Make sure I got them both. If it's circular, they tend to swim in circles. I don't think the other one dodged me. It's possible. We'll check it in a little bit. Maybe he got away. He's still in the box, but I'll double check because I only see one at the moment. But it's a little hard to tell. I'm going to just let it settle. So as you can see, I just grabbed one of these, put it down in there. Now it's got air. Now jar number 2. And I just go ahead and mark when today's date was fine. We'll just do CC. And today is 6:09. Here we go. And I'm set. So it gives me an idea. Though I don't, even though in this particular case there's just a few fish and it's just my choke ray. They're sort of they're just sort of a fun fish for me, just to have around. I like watching them in a group. They're very active. Those are the kind of fish I like. I don't know if you're what kind of a person you are. There's 20 of you watching, and I want to just take a moment. If you have a drink in your hand, take a drink. And we get my drink. I made some tea earlier. It should be cool enough to sip on now. I'm going to grab from the mailbag. I have a mailbag over there, so when there's something to share with you, I actually print it out and put it in the mailbag for these events. I think I'm having pomegranate tea tonight. So what's your flavor? I don't know what everybody's having out there. But here we go. The first one I got here is okay. Don't know. This is one I just wanted to mention when I did make a sale of paramecia to Montreal, and that was when they were having the ice storm. So eventually the package did get there, and this is what was written back. The individual says they survived from the day of shipping, April 5th, I remember, all through April 12th in transit with no power, probably due to the ice storm. So, you know, if you buy paramecia, and that's what I have up here, bottles of paramecia. It's really easy to keep on hand. I always do it every 10 days. I want to mention that because there's one case where the individual, I think, was trying to perpetuate the culture that they had. So they would do the culture, and it's sort of like, you know, ever had microworms go, you know, after a while it gets to really smelling bad, and it's like it's time to throw it out and start a new culture. Well, with paramecia, it's like that. It's even more often. You have to do it more often, but it's simple steps. And when you get into a routine, you come to find out that it only takes a few minutes, boiling the seeds for 10 minutes and then letting it cool and then putting together the recipe. Polyphenol drink. Not familiar with that. Okay, going on. I got this from a subscriber, and this is from Krista. Now, Krista called me. She had her order, and she went and called me about some of her issues, some of the things that she was dealing with. She called about her order, and we had a nice conversation. But what she said was, she's had some physical health issues over the years, and now she's into fish, and it's been doing her wonders. Fish are wonderful, especially for people who need that kind of mental therapy. Really, it's mental therapy. You know, when you sit and watch fish swimming in a tank and you're watching everything going on, it's mental therapy. To me, it's serene. It's like the same thing as sipping lemonade under a cool tree in a hot summer, and it does a person wonders. Well, this is the case with her, but she's built up to, I don't know how many tanks. She mentioned the number, it was quite a few. So she's got a number of tanks, but each tank she gives a lot of attention to. She's paying close attention to detail. And for example, she said her first tank was a saltwater tank. And that was only after she had researched the tank for 6 months or more. And she did all the research to know what to do and how to do it and what she needed, and she set it up, and she loved it. And so then she branched out later with freshwater. So what she's looking for is something very specific, because she has tanks where she loves apistogrammas and she loves certain kinds of fish. And so she says, I want to get something like a, what do you call that, when you have a fish that's like the theme fish, or you know, in your tank there's that one fish that's like, yeah, you have a lot of dithers, but you know, there's that one fish that makes the tank special. Yeah, I forget what you call that. It's like the fish that's in there is a not trophy fish. There's another word that we use all the time. Anyway, centerpiece fish. Thank you. Thank you, Lazarus, the fish boy from down under. Ha! I really appreciate you, and I do enjoy all your videos. So here, Krista is asking me to, well, she wasn't asking me, I told her that I would share this knowledge with all of you. And if you know somebody, if you're on the replay crew or whatever, now she's located in Alberta, Canada. So, but she's not afraid. She's had fish shipped before. If anybody knows somebody who does shipping and so forth, she says, it's very nice to meet the man behind the camera in the YouTube videos of FishEZ that I have been greatly enjoying. I spoke to you about wanting to get 2 male apistogramma cockatoides triple reds. That's what she's looking for, that are a very good quality. She's looking for top quality. And so it's not a matter of, oh, you know, it's going to cost more money. Yeah, we know that, right? You know, if you get the best fish and a superb fish, yeah, it's going to cost more. That's not the issue. She's not looking for it cheap. She's not looking for free fish. No, she's looking for the special fish. She's looking for that centerpiece fish. And she says, also, my desire is to have an apistogramma borellii opal male for my 30-gallon upstairs tank. Now, we had a little chat about that, and I said, you know, why do you want to just get a male? Why don't you get a pair? And she thought a moment, and if you're out there, leave a comment. I hope you're out there, Krista. You said you would be connecting with us tonight. But say hi to everybody. Just post, just go down below in the comments and say, you know, type a comment. Just say hi, so we know you're out there. But, you know, she wants a colorful, beautiful apistogramma, and to be as a centerpiece, and rightly so. She doesn't like aggression. And so the aggression sometimes, you know, kind of puts a negative on her fish. So she doesn't like situations, so she's always trying to avoid the fish that are just going to be aggressive to one another. So I said, well, in a 30-gallon that's heavily planted and you've got plenty of hiding spots, it's likely that the borellii, the apistogrammas, are not going to be too bad or too harsh with one another. But when you have a centerpiece fish, isn't it true that the male will display and look his best when there's a female around? Think about that. So, yes, you can get just one, but when there's sometimes more than one fish, the colors pop out. Something to think about. She says, I have reassessed my thought of just having one male for this tank and looked at the layout and feel that there should easily be enough territory for a cave and a male-female pair to live happily with minimal aggression issues. I think that I may have to move some pygmy quarries around the basement, which is a good idea. I need to move them there anyway. So, if anybody knows, I can put you in touch with Krista. If anybody has some red opal borellii. She's looking for maybe a male, or if you only have males, fine. But if you happen to have a pair, it might work out too. If you have some really nice looking fish, or even fish that come out of good stock, look like they're going to be great looking fish, and also the pistogrammas, cockatoides, triple reds. She mentioned in conversation, now that's what she wrote, triple reds, but in conversation she mentioned quads. I didn't know that there are quads out there now. Is that true? Is that true? Is there quads out there now? You know, you got your double reds, you know, you got two fin situation, and then you got triple reds, you got the three fin. But now quads, is that like red also on the ventral fins? Is it like the dorsal, the caudal, and the anal fin, and then also now, is it also in the ventral fins, the red? Pretty soon we're going to have an all red pistogramma, I think, cockatoides. So that's from the mailbag. I wanted to share that with you before I forgot. And Krista, if you're out there, please let us know. Yeah, all fins. Okay, yeah. Well, I just mentioned all of them except for the pectorals. Yeah. So that's the mailbag. We'll put that aside. Also, we had a first this week. And oh yeah, I'm gonna catch this Shady Grady. We were talking about brine shrimp last week, but I have a question. I bought some Aquarium Co-op brand, and they are really dark colored. Well, the Aquarium Co-op colored, if they're dark, they're probably the same as what I get. I don't get them from Aquarium Co-op here in Canada. I get them from these come from aquariumdirect.ca. And so you can see they're quite dark. I'm going to hold up the San Francisco. Here's the San Francisco. So you got kind of like the dark brown, and then look at the color of this one. It's like a lighter sandy. See the difference? San Francisco. And then this is the regular stuff, and it's dark brown. If you're used to this, you probably think this is really dark brown, but if you're used to this, you probably think this is really light. But I don't think Shady Grady is, it's just a different in the strain of the baby in the brine shrimp. It's not really a issue. It's not brown because there's a problem with it, that's for sure. Yeah. So I'm going to put them up there. Now, to move on just for a moment, there was a question, and of course I always like to answer your questions. And the green water. Okay, so I have the green water going. Now I'm going to just demonstrate how I have a gallon container with the Daphne in it right now. Okay, I hope you're there, Steve. This is the rigmarole I go through. It's sort of a to feed the fish and everything. But before I do, I have a big surprise this week. I had a surprise because I had a fish pop out of nowhere. I had a fish pop out of in a tank that doesn't even have fish in it. Fortunately, the tank has water in it, and I'm thinking, what on earth? It's my Daphnia tank. My Daphnia tank with all the live food suddenly has a fish in it. And I'm scratching my head, I'm saying, what? How can a fish be in my Daphnia tank? Well, I'm going to explain what happened because I started thinking about it and I came up with the answer. First, I need to take you over to where the fish is. Let's have a look. Looking down in the tanks down at the bottom. Okay. I have two tanks that have Daphne in them. I see on the surface there is kind of a film, and I don't like that film, so I need to put some bubbles in here because they fell out the other day and I haven't ever restored it, and I didn't think it mattered a whole lot, but then I decided Not a good thing. But look at this. Down here in this Daphnia tank, I look and I see a black ram. It's like, how does a black ram get in my Daphnia tank? And I looked at the size of the thing and I said, you know, he's not one of the small fry I have in the fish room right now. So as you can see here, this is the biggest of the fry I have. They're doing quite well. Sometimes the black rams do great. This particular batch is doing awesome. They're just swimming around. They hang out. This is from FA1. I also have, let's see. I also have in the in this tank, the fish in this tank also are in a tubby. So I have two locations in the fish room because it was a large spawn and I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Okay. This group of black rams died out, even though it was the same setup and it was a tank with lots of algae, detritus, and so forth. I wanted to see if putting them in a 5-gallon would do any better. Well, these died out, but the ones in the tubby, the other half of the batch, have done very well. We were looking at them a minute ago when we were looking through them, get past them, you know. So honestly, I don't know what to say, except for water conditions, because it can't be genetics. It's just can't be genetics. Now sometimes it is because I think the babies are so small that they're too small. And they get like a brand new pair of black rams, very young, may produce some eggs, and unfortunately when they produce the eggs, they're going to you know, maybe be too small to really eat and everything. So that's what happened with the black ram. Well, you can see anyway that they're quite small, right? So if you remember this tank here, I cleaned out last weekend and took every weekend I have to load up all the fish that are big enough to take over to the grow out center. This was full of angels, if you remember. And then this one had black rams in it. So right here, I was fishing out all the black rams. First I, you know, put them, they were in a bucket, and the bucket was sitting right here. And I remember now that I was here, and when I was netting them out and putting them into the bucket, there was one last one, and I remember catching it. And then all of a sudden, after I caught it, it flipped out of the net. And I looked on the floor and I said, where is it? I looked on the floor and 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 I couldn't find it. And I said, well, maybe it jumped into the bucket. Not even thinking to look in the tank right here. It flipped out of the net and landed in the Daphnia tank. That's what happened. And I didn't notice it for almost a week. So that's what can happen. So isn't that interesting? So I thought that was, you know, very interesting because you just can't, sometimes you just can't, you know, imagine how things happen. But then you think back, well, okay, that must have happened this way. It's the only explanation I have. That last number, that last black ram must have went poof, flying. I thought, well, I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. It kind of like flipped out of the net, and I never found it until now. So I thought that was a neat little story. I have found in those tanks down below a mono shrimp, but a mono shrimp climb out of your tanks. You have to have a good lid on your tanks because a mono shrimp, especially when they're first put into a tank, make sure it's really tightly covered because they start crawling everywhere looking to see what, you know, they don't, they're like, you know, they're kind of out there looking for a nook and cranny and trying to find things. So here's what I do for the I'm going to show you what I do for the green water. So okay, so here is we're gonna look at the green water right now. You can see I have two tubbies, and these have the this is Daphnia moina or moina, and they've been reproducing in this. And I've got them over here as well. I got two of them, but one of them, okay, it looks like one of them's going light. So I take notice of that, and when it gets light like this, it's not totally greenless, but definitely lost a lot of its color. So when that happens, and like this happens, okay. So this is, as you can see. Well, let me take the lid off. This is a tank. This is not very green. It's starting to get clear. I do have a lot of seed shrimp in there, and I'd love to get rid of them, but for right now, I'll end up using this for food. But the Daphne is in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, like, let's take this tubby, for example. This one needs to be fed, right? Refreshed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another tubby. See if I've got to position the camera so you can see what's going on. Okay, looks like you can see from there, right? Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so let me set up by putting I'm going to put my stand here. Okay, that's helpful. I think you can see that, yeah. So I've got a little platform. Then I get a tub. And I need to get you want to take out a tub? Those tubbies are just incredible. I use them for everything. And then I'm going to take this 16 micrometer, what is it? It's like a linen. It's really, really fine. So this will strain out everything. So I'm going to put that there. So the reason why is I don't want to lose any of the creatures. I'm going to pour it out. Okay. Looks like I poured out quite a bit. Now I can use that for feeding a tank, but I don't want to do that because I'm going to be using this. I'm trying to grow the moina in quantity. So I'm going to put those back in where they were. Put those back. Okay, so they're all back in there, but I have strained out the water, and now we have the water. It's kind of like mucky, but it doesn't have any Daphne in it because I just removed them all. So I pour this out. Then I know how much I need, so I'm going to, over here, you're going to see if I got this right. Check the camera so you can see what's going on. Okay, I need to put it down here where you can see it. So I'm just going to move this out, move this down, and we're going to put, I always like to strain even from my green water tank because there could be seed shrimp. I don't know. I always strain it. There we go. I'm just going to fill that up. I got marks on my tank. My tank holds 4 of these tubbies of green water. Nothing. Looks like a little sediment. Just, I don't know. Doesn't have much because I've been putting back only good stuff. Now I have green water, and there it is. I'm going to use this and just fill feed my depth. So you can see, I'm just going to pour it in. Now it's very green. So you can see how green it is. It greened it up. And now it's full of, it'll last a little bit longer. Another, every week I do that, and it should be work. I do it every week. And let's see how green it is. Now, even just, I took out only half the water, and it's very green. So green you can't see through it, so. I just need to do the same thing with the gallon jar and repeat the process. So I don't need to sit there and have you watch me do that. I can do that in a minute. I hope that answers your question, Steve, but I also have a question for you. So you were talking to me about the grindle worms, right? To move on a little bit, the grindle worms, I've been doing the grindle worms using, as you can see, I have this kind of a container, and I'm using these pads, and I set the grill on top, and these need to be fed now tonight. Here's another one. But I was watching a video, and what I'm going to try doing is something different. Because I have been doing this. This one is the most successful. This one is really producing heavy right now in the grindle worms. And so what I was doing is different, is I put a piece of glass. I don't know if you can see it. There's a piece of glass. So there's this glass here, and then underneath it is that grill that we use. But if you just pick up the glass, it's full of, as you can see, grindle worms. Very simple and clean. Now watch what happens when I take that glass. Okay, I'm going to just dip it into this tank. Hold on. I got both hands. Okay, come on guys. Okay, ready? They're all ready. They're all poised. They're all excited. Now all I have to do is just put the glass in and dip it in the water, and the grindle worms go flying off. That's it. Then I put the food on top here, put it on there, and then on top of the food, I set the glass. Now I saw this gentleman do this in one of the videos. Right now it escapes me as to which video it is, but the difference was he's using dirt in the bottom, like about 1.5 inches of dirt, and that keeps a nice moist bed. And in this case, this is the way I was taught by the person who gave me the grindle worms, but I'm not sure if this is the maximized way, because a lot of the worms go to the side, they go up and they dry up and they die. I don't think it's so great. But if I had soil in the bottom, moist soil, and replace this thing, then he had the black grill just like I have it, and then he had the glass on top. Was it Greg Jones? It was a gentleman. I thought it was. I don't remember it being Greg Jones. I remember it being. I'll tell you what, after the live stream, I'll find that video. It was a very good video. I recommend it. So if you want to go see it, it was a video of a gentleman's, and these are the kind of videos I like the best. In my favorites, there's a video. Oh, Jeff, you remember too. Yeah, I don't think it was Greg Jones. It was someone else I knew. I thought it was, it may have been in the, I will find it because it's going to be in my it's going to definitely be in my history list. So I'll go back and look and find it and put the link to that video in the notes. Now, what he was doing was he was doing the same thing, picking up the glass, and it was nice and clean. There was no dirt on it, no dirt, because the glass set on top of the black matting, which is like, you know, they get from the craft store, right? Needle point. So the soil, I think, is going to be a great idea because it's going to keep the moisture in. It's also going to give a nice bed for the worms. And if this proves successful, and that's the way I'm going to start doing it in the future, because I want to be able to maximize my brindle worms. And yeah, they've been doing well under this kind of arrangement, but I think they can do better because I feel like I'm losing a lot of them without actually getting to use them for food. David Ramsey. Yeah, now I'm not saying that the person I saw doing it in the video was actually the one who invented the idea or came up with it originally. You know, they probably got it from somebody, but it was somebody who had been in the hobby for many, many years. And I get all kinds of tips and tricks when I watch videos such as that. So educationally, those are my favorite kind of videos. I remember watching the favorite video by Flip Aquatics, and it was going through this fish room of an elderly woman who's had, I don't know, she's had fish for, I don't remember what it said, like 74 years, 83 years, something. It's just, no, it couldn't have been that many. I'm getting confused with the one that that Nick was interviewing. He was interviewing somebody like that. Anyways, point being that I walked through and you could see the experience just oozing off this individual. And each time you see a video like that, it's amazing. So that's what I'm going to try. I always wanted to do it on, I can't do it live streaming, but I'm going to do it for the membership. So I'm going to, when I go to do this, I will actually try the process and probably do a series and put out a playlist of 3 little videos of the process of, you know, starting it, doing it, and processing it, and the results of it, and then putting it out there for members who join. So there will be just short little videos instead of live streams, because who wants to sit there in a live stream and watch somebody, you know, clean their tanks? I mean, I know some people do it, but I mean, you know, it's more interesting when there's just explanation and then you get the idea. But I think it's great with the membership, because that way these particular videos are targeted. Now, I'll tell you this. Yeah, 50 years, and she was great. Yes, 50 years. I remember that, 50 years. That was the title of that particular video. It's one of my favorites. It's in my private playlist of my all-time favorites. So, yeah, all-time favorites. And I added recently the one by Gabe Posada, the history of Jack Watley discus. So I thought that was incredibly awesome. Just to have it on record. I had heard bits and pieces of it before, and I'd heard him, you know, explaining how it came about that he was involved and got involved in the Jack Watley discus, but it's just kind of nice. Kind of nice to see someone that, you know, was able to take over the reins and not destroy something that somebody else had already built up for many years. So let's see, Um, we took care of matters. We got the, oh, even, my goodness, look at that. All I did was just take the worms away and already, look at this. The worms are back. They go right back. Yeah, so those window worms, there's a lot in there, and they reproduce. I have some, I don't know if you can notice, when they go in and start having babies, there's like little tiny worms completely over the container on the walls, and that's what I'm trying to capture. I think those baby ones, if they were in the soil, they would stay in the soil rather than crawl up the plastic. Why would they want to crawl up the plastic? But if you have no soil, they kind of fall out of the other mesh. They're looking for food, and then they find themselves in this plastic world. You know, the plastic bottom, plastic walls, plastic lid, plastic everything. So that's my thinking, anyway. But we shall prove it one way or another. Let's see. Another great thing that happened this week, we got a pair out of our discus. So earlier this week there was a pair. It was over here on this wall. We had eggs on the wall. So there was two of these that had paired off. They were both blue turquoise discus. And I was surprised because I didn't really think they were old enough, but I guess they have been kind of bickering with one another and going to their respective corners and stuff. But you see that pair right there? It's kind of dark. You can't see it in the film. Let me get closer, see if you can. I think it's this pair right here. You see them? I think that's them right there. This one and this one. They're sort of hanging out together. Well, their babies kind of disappeared, but I just left them in there, and the reason why is because I have a theory. They're too young to really know what to do, even though she looked like she was going to be a good mom. She was like really up close and praying over those little babies, or eggs I should say. But those blind fish, these guys were getting in the way because they didn't notice the issue, so they were coming over and they probably found the eggs, and of course they couldn't help themselves, not realizing that mom's standing right there attacking them. So, but anyway, they're beautiful fish. We have the theory, and I was talking to Aqua Malik about this, that if they bond and they're used to defending themselves in a community tank against others, they tend to really bond strongly, and that might be a better way of getting a pair. Look at them. Look at the way they move together. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the pair right there. So when next time they have eggs, I will then net them out together, so I know it's which two. I don't make a mistake. When I'm sure, look at them chase them away. Yeah, it's definitely, this is their corner. So I'll pull them out and put them in a breeder tank, because they are a beautiful pair. Look at them. Still young, but wow, they're gonna grow. They should be, their parents are like twice the size. So yes, to strengthen their parenting instincts and their bond between each other. So because if they're going to start laying every week like discus normally do, then there's no worries. I'm not worried about a particular first set of eggs or whatever. You know, that's not important. What's important is to get good bonding, and they'll last and produce for years to come. Yeah, several years. This is a beautiful tank. Growing the fish out, they're getting really nice. Even the macropinnis look gorgeous. They're probably pairing off. They're at the size where they should be. They're old enough. The males here are looking nice. You can't kill these fish. They're just, they kill each other, but you can't kill them. They're just so strong. Yeah. And the females, I think, are the little slightly smaller ones, with not as long elongated. But wow, look at the colors of those fish. And they get along with the discus just fine. They don't have any issues. They get along with most anything. I've never really seen them attack other fish. They're not like putting a mean Jack Dempsey in the tank or something. It's like they seem to be, but of course, if they get in spawning behavior, that's a different story. That's when they got to be watchful because then they'll really be attacking the other fish. And that's when you got to make sure they don't have eggs. You got to pull those eggs out. But yeah, those are really great fish as well. I wish they were more popular, but it's easy to produce a lot, and then everybody has them. But nice looking fish. Then of course, I have some new fish coming. It's going to be a surprise. We have a tank for them. There's a 40-gallon right here, and then we have our. This is one of the discus I raised. It's just one of the most gorgeous fish, just perfect in every way. But this fish has one issue. Just one issue. It has a bladder problem. I think it's a swim bladder problem because sometimes after eating it will be not able to swim properly. It kind of goes bobbing up and down. Well, it used to do that. It hasn't done it for a very long time. But this fish is a beautiful fish. And for some reason it's grown faster and bigger than any of the other ones. So anyway, I didn't want to sell it because of the swim bladder issue, but I didn't want to. I'm anxious to see if he kind of grows out of it. You know, if he's going to still have. I haven't seen the issue for some time now, but I just want to keep it around. So here we go. Another quick look at what's going on here. The eggs. We'll have to check back to see if we get any albino dentums out of this batch. I just look at the. I can tell you these angelfish are still at the bottom, so no feeding yet. Down here we have Lucy's, and we have red lizards, and everybody's doing well. But I wanna spend some time working with them. I gotta feed everybody tonight. Is there anything else I need to show you? This batch of these are German blues. They need to go over into a little bigger tank, so I might move them tonight. These black rams just need to be fed. I think they're hungry. They put off. But this is a good size. This is FA1. And this is the same batch as the ones we were looking at in the 5-gallon tank. So they're from the same batch. So it's like this is the other half. What a huge batch. On the other hand, the FA1, the same fish, on a later date, this is on June 3rd. These were on May 20th. Okay, same pair, FA1. And so I put them in here, and there they are, up in the corner. I still don't know if they're going to make it. They haven't gotten to the point, but I'm going to keep working with them with the vinegar eels and get them to the point where they're eating baby brine shrimp. So that pair seems to be working out quite well. But here's FA2. This is the other half of the batch that died out. So all their counterparts died out, and they are no longer in that 5-gallon. They just disappeared. But look at this. These guys are doing great in the tubby. So I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I am going to try changing their water, but I'll probably use a drip method to put the water back in. I won't give them any sudden shocks. I want to touch these with white gloves. Here is an example of angelfish that have been eating baby brine shrimp. And the bottom's not too foul yet, but it gets there quite easily, as you can see, from the uneaten food. So these are going to need to go into a breeder box or a tank soon, but I'll keep them. These are platinums, platinum angels. So 2LB6 is platinum, is good. See any more questions for tonight? Let's see if I missed anybody. Whoop. There's always something to talk about, and some of the things I had wanted to talk about At least I shared what I could. And if there's any questions, anybody has any questions, please, like if you're on the replay crew, put a comment down below, and then maybe on the next live stream I will have that question, and I'll be able to respond to that question. And that's kind of like what I'm doing on the casual Friday night. So a lot of things to do here tonight to get ready for the weekend. I will clean out some of these breeder boxes, feed everybody. Oh, and there was several weeks ago, somebody asked me about the L134s, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But I will just kind of give you an update of the L134s, the leopard frog plecos. Their tank is down here, and I put a bag of resin in the tank because this tank gets an amount of flow. It's got good flow. That's why it's you see things flying around. I've subdued the lighting. It's got blue lights only. I don't know that really makes a difference, but I haven't seen any activity, no trapping. But everybody just seems to be happy and content. They eat their Dr. Basilier pellets. They also eat grindle worms. I have a couple down here. It seems like most of them find caves. Maybe I have just mostly males. It could be. But I'm hoping to get a spawn one day. But as you can see, I'm not shining a flashlight. This is just the camera. This is the new phone. New Samsung phone. This seems to be working really good in low level lighting. So this tank here is kind of messy, and I just kind of leave it alone. And let's check the pH. I've got leaves in there. I've got my pH meter in there to keep checking it. It's 5.5. So I got to get it real low. I might even let it drop a little lower before I try raising it. So, Alexa, fish room on. The lights went out. Okay, thank you. Turn the lights back on. And looks like 5.5. I did see a question come in. Okay, what was the question? From Coral Works. Have you ever kept the Leopoldi angelfish? They stay smaller than the Scalari. No, I haven't. But I haven't seen those. But I have been working mostly, like, for example, these. What we do a lot of around here is the platinums, which I have some really gorgeous fish. These guys, longfin platinums, just the most elegant fish for anybody's tank. And we sell a ton of these. They're a hot item, but we have to keep moving them. And so we sell them to stores all over. But wow, what a neat angel. And these also have pearl scale in them. Then on top of that, I would like to get some double black. That would be nice, some double blacks with veil. Double black veil-tailed angels. I think the blacks with the platinums will look really nice. I was in a store today, I think, or where was I? I saw platinum angels. I think it was online. It was an online store. Platinum angels, but they had black marks all over them. And I thought to myself, do people realize that platinums are really solid platinum? I mean, maybe it's just that the quality wasn't there. I don't know. But I see something with black marks and everything like that. That to me means quality, they're mixed, or they're not pure. Yours spawn in the summer. And the males just don't seem interested until late spring. Okay, well, this is late spring. Community breeding, okay. There was a question about community breeding. Let me back up a little bit. I must have missed some quick conversation with y'all. I saw red lizards on sale from angelfins.ca. They have them. They're selling them for they were selling them for like $20 each, or $15 to $20, somewhere in there. Got home eating salad and pizza. Oh, that's the best meal of the week. Yep. And let's see. What are your favorite community spawning fish? Community spawning. Community spawning. So they spawn inside. I'm anxious to see what will happen now that I have hillstream loaches in my community tank. Right here, the ones you were looking at just now, with the angels in them and everything. I want to know. Maybe I need to set up some more rocks for hiding places, but I'd really love to see the loaches. I put about a dozen loaches in here now, and I'm going to give them a shot and see what they do in here all by themselves. Just kind of like a heavily planted tank with everything they need. It should be pretty good, This is what's been happening in other tanks. At least that's the case with Aqua Malik. He's been breeding these things like rabbits, and yet he doesn't do anything. They just happen to like the tank they're in, and if they like the tank they're in, they just go to town. Steve, on your 134s, you know what? I've heard that certain times of the year it seemed to be better. I don't know what Tom at TM Aquatics would say for his, or if he's going year round. He seems to have a season also, but it seemed like when I got my first spawn, it was it's now been probably 2 years ago, and honestly, that spawn, it was in the fall, so don't know if, and that's what some people say, the fall is the best time. So we don't know what was going to happen there. Marbled platinum, yes. If you just choose a fancy name for anything you have, it'll go in the store and you can sell it. Oh wow, they got a marbled platinum. Okay, wow, it's even more special than a platinum because this one's marbled. Night Owl Aquatics has joined us. Hi. And bluefish. Yeah, I've had some killifish before. Got them at a fish club auction. Are you going to attend the Canadian Aquatic Pet Expo in September? Yes, I am. It's just down the street from me. It's not that far. I will be going in September, and probably because I'm part of the executive for KOAC. KOAC is the Canadian Association of Aquarium Clubs. So I'm going to help out, set up and do things, and to volunteer my time for that important event. And then they have their big meeting, their big convention, and they're doing that. I guess after COVID, everybody's trying to get things back into a more routine. So I will be there. I don't know, there will be an auction in KWAC. We'll have an auction. I wonder if I'll be able to share some fish at that time. Probably so. So if you're going to be there, yeah, please let me know. Say hi. Yeah, so that is an issue when you deciding to get a species. I noticed that Bluefish says, well, you know, I got rams, they got heaters, the killifish do better without. So that is something that you should always consider. Now, in the case of, for example, apistogrammas, in the apistogrammas, I was enjoying a very nice talk from Jess Bullock, who knows a lot about pistogrammas. She's been breeding them for many years, and she came into our club and gave us a talk. And when she mentioned the opal, or not opal, but you know, just the Borellii in general, she said they're cold water apisto, so they prefer the 70 to 74 range, somewhere in there, 70 to 74, rather than the 78 to 80, which sometimes we have our fish pretty much typically kept at. So the coldest water fish that I have currently are the rosy rainbow shiners. I have rainbow shiners, and I've lost one by one by one. You know, I don't think that they do well in the heat. They're in the low tank down there, and the males are starting to color up. So I really would love to breed some of them, but I don't know if it's cool enough in here. So we're gonna have to get a setup going down the future, and I'll show you that setup and what I'm thinking of doing. And would be nice to get some rainbow shiners. But I don't know, this room gets hot right now. It's 82.8 Fahrenheit right now, so yikes. Still hot in there, I'm still sweating. I get that way, and this summer is going to be super hot too. It's going to be hard to keep the temperatures down. That's when it's good to have angels and discus and rams, when you can't keep the temperatures low. And by the way, this is the basement of the house. So, but in a confined space like this one, there's just that many tanks, and there's some heaters. Maybe there's heaters going off. I don't think most of the heaters are working. The big heater I have for the 90 gallon, the Higer heater, has worked great. Keeps the temperature way up there to 82 or 3, but the tank itself stays even room temperature, which is 84. I never see the heater turn on. I hardly ever see it come on. Very rare. So that's it's been a 90-minute show tonight, and nice discussion, nice group of people. Thank you all very much for your support. Thank you, all you members and the mods, everybody who's joined us for tonight, and I hope to see you at the Pet Expo in September. That would be nice. I do have to take a trip out to California one of these days. I need to see my mom and my dad. They're not doing so well. Mom fell and broke her hip, so it's been a little rough. So I'm anxious to get out there and see her as she's in a recovery or recuperation process. So, but she's doing very well. She was able, yesterday I think she walked 30 feet with her walker. 30 feet, and that's amazing for somebody who has now a pin in her leg. And so glad that she's able to do that. But it's kind of difficult to get away from the fish room for any extended period of time just due to the small fry. We'll have to work that out, and but it'll happen. So thank you very much, everybody, for your support. It's always much appreciated, as always. Let's see, there's even more. Everybody's discussing away. So Aqua Garden Zen has never had killer fish before, so thank you for the advice of not putting them with something else. Killer fish. I think he means killifish. You know, I lived in New York for 24 years, and I lived in Brooklyn, Bethel, 24 years. And in Brooklyn, it's interesting. very interesting because you're right around the Catskills. And there's Peekskill, and there's Wallkill, and there's all the kills. But when you finally realize that, why are all these places named Kill? You go back to the days of when Peter Stuyvesant actually purchased the island of Manhattan from the Indians for some trinkets and things. And this man was Dutch. Peter Stuyvesant was Dutch, and there was a great Dutch community in those days. Of course, the Dutch word for river is kill. So that's why the names of these places is Wallkill, Peekskill, and there's like a half a dozen kills out there. Amazing, just absolutely amazing. So sometimes you say killifish, and you wonder, oh, are they mean? Are they kill? No, it means river. Blue flower wrasse. A blue flower wrasse. Nice. Is that a saltwater? Sounds like a saltwater fish. So Sandy is in the Kitchener Waterloo Club. Okay, you're in Kawas. Okay. So yeah, maybe Sandy, I'll be able to meet you in person if you make it to the Pet Expo. Thank you, Ben Peters. Red. You're in Hamilton, Red Laser? Oh, okay. So you know Jess Bullock, so you no doubt know her and her wealth of experience. Thank you, Jeff. Yes. I'm always hoping, Mom's very strong. She's a very strong woman, and so I have all of the absolute faith, I have the faith that she's going to be very strong and be walking on her own very soon again. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, and it's great to see everybody. But the time has come, I guess. A flasher wrasse. Okay. Thank you. Aqua Garden Zen. So the best way to promote the channel is, of course, in my opinion, if you enjoy the content, and I've had so many videos in the works, and they're just like so many raw files that need to be edited a little bit and clipped and made into videos. I will do that, and one of these days I'm going to get to it, and I was going to do it today, make one, but I ended up changing water, and it took me quite a while. There's a lot of tanks over at the grow-out center because the leak was working, so I was busy cleaning tanks. And that's what it is. We're all tight for time. But I will put out some videos, the ones, especially the ones I've already shot video footage of. They just need to be put together. But when something comes out, please share it with friends or talk about or mention the channel to others. That's the best way to promote the channel and getting other people interested. And of course, you can draw them to the channel, but it's up to them to stay. If you like this content, if you like the things I do and the things I share and my experiences with the fish, if you enjoy that kind of item, then I know you'll stick around, and that's why you're here tonight. So in other cases, I'm not too worried about people who come and then, they decide, and I'm not interested. That's okay too. Everybody is looking for something different. And I just want to thank you all for being very supportive and keeping the channel going. In fact, sometimes I'm very tired, exhausted in fact, and I don't feel like doing a live stream or taking the time. But I do it because I know there's people out there that are anxious to hear or see something, and it's a lot better it's a lot better information. It's something better to do than what's out there on watching the very negative news, watching the negative news, or yeah, it's just kind of sad. Some of the things that's on TV nowadays. So better stuff, you know. Thank you, Sandy. I'm glad you liked the membership video. So that's the first step, and then of course, all the other videos I've shot for the membership haven't come out yet, but they will in piecemeal. And what I learned the other day, and I'll just go ahead and share it with you, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people don't use the playlists like they should be used. A playlist is a group of videos that are sort of in harmony with one another. So you play one, you play the second, the third, and the fourth. So it's not meant to just be a hodgepodge, a collection of all kinds of videos. And who wants to go to a playlist and play the playlist when it says, you have 150 videos? This is 5 hours of watching material. And then you scratch your head, who's going to watch that? I don't have 5 hours, you know? It's like, you know. But the concept is you group maybe some together in a series, and let's say you're looking for something on Daphnia like tonight, or maybe you're looking for something on brine shrimp hatching or feeding fry systems and things like that. So a lot of people will be like that, right? You know, and they'll just go to the YouTube, do the search, and then they'll find all the videos that are similarly related. And they're only going to watch that because that's what's their interest at the moment, right? So why wouldn't it be the same? You go to a playlist and you're expecting to see a couple of them grouped together, like, I'm interested in this subject. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then poof. Then that's all they need. So that's the way it should work. And I heard that from a channel that really knows their stuff. And so it made a lot of sense. And I said, you know, yeah, that's what I need to do. So I'm going to have a little playlist on the black rams because I have a series of videos on those. Then I'll have a playlist on maybe something, a different subject. And those are the ones I'll put out there. And I'll go through and edit the ones I have out there a little bit. And there's no sense in, you don't need a catch-all. Look, if you want a catch-all, just go to somebody's video list and there's a playlist, right? It's all their videos, right? You know, so it does make sense. Well, have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and sharing an hour and 45 minutes with me. Just enjoying a Friday night, relaxing Friday night with your tea or your specialized drink. And then, of course, asking questions and sharing the nice things that have happened with you and others. It's always good to see some of the same names out there, but I don't know if it's possible, and I'm still investigating because I can't seem to figure out how to do a live stream just for members. I have yet to figure that one out. I keep trying and trying, and last night I spent so much time, and everything I read, you just click here, there, and then with me, my account, I must not have it turned on or something because I just can't get it to come up for, you know, members only. Maybe it's not possible. Maybe there's only members only in the comments, and I didn't want that. I don't want to limit. Somebody wants to make a comment here, you know. That's why we have moderators, you know, and somebody wants to make a comment. I want everybody to comment. I want everybody to ask a question, so. Yeah, I have asked Malik about it. He says he's done it, but that's the problem. I don't figure out why I can't do it. That's why I'm thinking it might be a setting. I'm going to have to keep looking and probing around in the settings. Sandy, what do you mean, wish I could afford to be a member? I don't know what you're talking about. You are a member. Aren't you? I thought you were a member. You watched my intro video. How did you watch that if you weren't a member? Yeah, good question. Okay. Well, some things are just not meant to be understood. I don't know. Yeah. thank you so much, and everybody for joining tonight. And I will let you go. So be safe out there. Try not to breathe in too much smoke or ashes. And most of all, enjoy your fish and ultimately, keep it real.